I was chronically ill up until I was 9 years old. Chronically ill. Little tidbit, little side note, I'm not saying don't vaccinate your kids. I'm not saying don't vaccinate yourselves. I'm not saying don't vaccinate your dogs. I'm not saying shun Western medicine, healthcare, whatever. I'm just sharing my personal experience and why I no longer follow this specific healthcare whatever. Okay. Greetings, fellow Earthlings. My name is Amber, and for those of you who've been here for a while, you might remember a segment I did called A Tea in a Chat, where I just kind of drank tea and talked to you guys. So today we're gonna do the same thing, except this time I'm having some good old bean water, and it might be a little bit more of a serious topic because I'm going to talk about why I no longer follow the normal Western medicine train, if you will. I'm just basically gonna be talking about my personal experience with Western medicine and how I came about not necessarily following it and more going from a normal, natural healthcare standpoint, holistic medicine, all that jazz. It all started when I was very, very young. I was fully vaccinated as a child. I was also chronically ill. So I was sick for probably 8 months out of the year, and I'm not talking about like sick for a few days and then I was good for the rest of the month. I was sick for like 6 to 8 months out of the year. I was sick all the time. I remember as a kid I would have croup cough probably up until I was in elementary school, and then every year I would get the flu. Every single year I would get the flu. It would turn into bronchitis a lot. It would also turn into pneumonia. I think I had pneumonia once, maybe twice. I missed so much school. I was almost kicked out of school, I think 3 years of elementary school because I wasn't in school. I was sick all the time. They almost had to call CPS on my parents because I literally didn't show up to school because I was sick all the time. I was also hospitalized as a kid for, I want to say like 6 days. It might not have been that long, but I remember being in the hospital. They didn't know what was wrong with me. They said they didn't know what was wrong with me. They said it could be this rare blood disease. They weren't really sure. I had 3 spinal taps in the time that I was there. And for anyone that's had a spinal tap, you know that pain. Like, you do not forget that pain. And as a child, I don't know how old I was. I don't know what grade I was in. I was probably in like 2nd grade, maybe younger. From there, we switched pediatricians. I remember we had this one pediatrician through pretty much the duration of my childhood. I decided to change my diet when I was 9 years old, and I wanted to be a vegetarian. This pediatrician that I had was very test happy, and she would want me to get my blood work tested every few months on a vegetarian diet just to make sure that like everything was going okay, I guess. I don't really know. So I did that, and my levels came back great. The only thing that was like kind of lacking was vitamin D, but everyone in my family is vitamin D deficient. So I would have to take a vitamin D supplement, but that was it. And when I took control of my diet in that way, I noticed a major change in my life. And I also stopped getting vaccinations. I stopped getting boosters. I stopped getting a flu shot every year, which is something that like my mom, A+ mama for not getting me the flu shot every year after that. Fast forward a little bit, I sometimes got sick, sometimes was fine. So I got the flu one year, I remember in particular, and I was put on Tamiflu, which is an antibiotic, I guess, for the flu, and it's supposed to cut the duration of your flu by a few days. And so I went through the whole 7-day dose of Tamiflu, and I was still sick at the end of it. And so within this time, my mom had found a chiropractor for my brother because he was in sports, and he also happened to be a holistic doctor. So my mom was like, I don't know what to do. She was going to get my brother an adjustment, and the chiropractor so happened to ask about me, and she was like, well, she's been really sick. She went through a whole dose of Tamiflu and she's still sick, so like we don't know what to do. And so he gave her a remedy to give to me when she got home, and I think I took 3 doses of the remedy, so like that afternoon, that evening, and the next morning, and I was better. So I didn't really believe it because I was like, well, maybe the Tamiflu just kicked in later, so like, okay. And then the next season I got the flu again, and instead of going through Tamiflu like I did before, I just asked my mom, hey, can you go back to the chiropractor, get the remedy that you got, and I want to take it to see if it was really that made me better or if it was the Tamiflu. So she went, got the same remedy, I took 3 doses, and it was better. Crazy. So from there, I think my mom, she really realized what was going on with natural healthcare, and she realized what was going on with my health. And that was the point where I just was like, I'm not gonna go see any more doctors. I trust Dr. Kearns. This is my chiropractor. This is my holistic doctor. Like, that's it. So of course I had like my normal pediatrician to go to for physicals and stuff like that because whatever, you're supposed to do that. And the last shot that I got was a tetanus shot for a missions trip that I had to go on. I had to get it. and I got sick after. Like, just like chills, cold sweats. I think I got hives. I don't really remember. I just know that I was sick. And it was interesting that it lined up in that way. Doing more research, I also found out that I suffer from an autoimmune disease that was caused by vaccines. I have eczema. I had eczema all over my body. I would have them at the injection sites. I would have them in my like armpits, the elbow pits, and in my knees, on the back of my knees. And that was directly related to vaccines because I would always get them around the time that I would get my vaccines, and also in the summer when I would sweat a lot. So that's interesting. It also popped up when I got pregnant. It was on my face and on my hands, and that's something that can't be detoxed from my body for reasons that I might get into in another video. It's just hard for my body to detox things like heavy metals and other things that are in vaccines that I'm not going to go into in this video either. I knew that I just wanted all of my healthcare to be 100% natural. I didn't want really any medical intervention unless it was completely necessary. So when I got pregnant, I felt the same way. My first OBGYN that I had when I was pregnant did not want me to think that way, did not want me to believe the things that I believed, and she was basically like, we need to get all of the blood work, you need all of the shots, all of this, that, and the other. And I was supposed to get the DTaP vaccine and the flu vaccine, I think, while I was pregnant, both of which have side effects on unborn fetuses. And I knew that, so I was like, nah, like, we're not doing that. And the break that I had from them, there was something with my insurance and like other stuff, but I asked if they had a midwife that worked within their office, and they said no. And they asked why, and they were being really, really pushy about it. And I was like, well, I want a natural birth. And they literally, I kid you not, they laughed in my face. All of the nurses, all of the receptionists, and all of the doctors literally laughed. And they said, you don't know the pain of childbirth, and you're gonna want that epidural. And I was like, just completely mind blown by these doctors who are supposed to support me, because like, it's an OBGYN, this is women's healthcare. They're supposed to be supportive of you and your wants and your desires, and for your unborn baby, like, what? So I was like, I'm finding another doctor. And so I did find another doctor. I have a negative blood type, so when you are pregnant and have a negative blood type, they typically push Rogam, which is like something that helps your body not attack your baby or something, because there's two different blood types. So if your baby has a positive blood type, you need to get the shot so that it doesn't, like, whatever. But at that point, they didn't know if Raylan was a positive, negative, or neutral blood type, so I was like, I'm not gonna get a shot that I don't need. And they basically were just like, well, then you can't be in our practice. And I was like, okay, bye. I'm not gonna say somewhere where I'm also not supported. I'm not gonna get a shot that you don't even know is necessary. And in other countries, that shot isn't given until the baby's born, and they test the baby's blood from the umbilical cord. So it wasn't until then that I found my midwife, who was fully supportive of everything that I wanted to do. And I told her that I wanted to have a natural birth, and she was like, awesome, so water birth or like normal walking around, like, what do you want to do? And I was like, you're literally supporting everything I want. Yes, I want a water birth. So my birth went amazing, and I'm so grateful that I switched practices, because if I hadn't, I know so many horror stories of women who are like, yeah, I'm gonna do an all natural birth, and they end up having episiotomies and emergency C-sections. And I'm just like, if I were to have stayed with either one of the OBGYNs that I had before, I would have ended up one of those stories. I probably would have had a C-section because she was flipped in a way that she wasn't supposed to be, so her head was facing forward, so the back of her head was against my tailbone, and it was really, really painful and a little bit difficult to push her out, but we got her out. It was all natural. It was great. And from then on, I have been completely natural and haven't had any shots, any medications as far as like illness medications or whatever. I did dive into the natural healthcare this winter with elderberry syrup, and I took it every single day as like a precautionary thing, and I never got sick this winter. I didn't get the flu, I didn't get a cold, I didn't get anything of the sort. And Raylan ended up getting the flu from Josh for about 24 hours, but I doubled the dose of elderberry syrup I was taking. I took vitamin C and zinc every 4 hours, and then I would breastfeed her, so she got everything that I was getting, so that she was better within 24 hours, which was absolutely amazing. And I didn't think that it would work, and if I would have gone to a doctor and said like, hey, my whatever boyfriend gave my daughter the flu, they probably would have scared me into putting her on Tamiflu and something with RSV. Literally is unnecessary and just causes more stress on the body, and anything that they're going to introduce to my daughter, isn't really necessary, obviously, because everything that I took and gave to her through my breast milk made her better within 24 hours. So that's just my personal experience, and I haven't drank any coffee. I want to challenge you to do your research, to look up things from a natural standpoint that you can do to make yourself better, from a dietary standpoint that you can do to make yourself better. The things that the earth naturally provides are so helpful in health, and you can't tell me that we've evolved through generations and through eons or whatever, and our bodies haven't adapted to the illnesses that are on the earth, and to the flu and to measles and to smallpox and polio and whatever else. My immune system has evolved along with my body, as has my daughter's, as has my boyfriend's, as has my mom's and my dad's and my brother's, and the things that we're introducing into our body that have been made in a lab, something that's man-made, just can't give me what a natural wild illness can give me. I have so many thoughts, but there's so much with censorship that I can't talk about, and if you're interested in me possibly making a video about vaccines in particular, I'd be more than happy to do so. If you're interested in me talking about diet as far as healing goes, I would be more than happy to do so as well. And this is just something that I'm very passionate about, and the more I learn about the human body, the more I learn about health and fitness in general, I'm just like, whoa! So that's my personal experience. That's just my personal experience. I'm not saying you should do one thing or the other. I'm saying you should research and make your own decisions based on what you find. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will hopefully see you guys soon, but we'll see. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hot, 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 hot.